member who is speaking today, who is one of our admin team. Welcome, Dionne. So happy to have you here.
I know.
And
It feels like we should have done this a million times already, but I'm excited
it
to be here.
does, right? Isn't it funny how that happens? I love it. I am so delighted to hand you the stage because I know you have some amazing ideas and thoughts that you want to share with the audience.
We'll see what I can do. All right.
Awesome. It's all yours.
Hey. Hi, everybody. My name is Dionne. I am the founder of the Ziva Group. I'm going to give you a brief history about me. And I'll tell you, maybe share some tips and information that might be helpful. I was a teen mom. I had my first child when I was, 16. And I guess we should go ahead and acknowledge that he's 33 now, and on down to my youngest, who is 16. So I'm a mom of 5 total. I didn't give birth to all of them, but I don't really do steps and halves. So that's a little bit about me. I come from a large family. I'm the oldest of 8 children, the only girl, so definitely daddy's princess. And that's a little bit about me as far as why I do what I do now. I always ask, when people ask me, what do I do or how do I do it? I always tell people I'm just a champion of herding wet cats. I am very good at herding wet cats. That's what I do. I'm good at managing chaos. I'm, again, oldest of 8 children. Good at managing chaos, good and comfortable doing a lot of those things. So at the Ziva Group, I started off as a virtual event, probably, oh my goodness. I guess now we're going on 16 years ago, before it was really a term. And I started by mistake. Well, mistakenly on purpose. I had children that were teenagers, and I decided that I wanted to be home when they were teenagers, primarily because I wanted to be home when the decisions that they made could be life altering. That may sound crazy, but that's the way I looked at it, is that as teenagers, the decisions they make can be life altering. So I wanted to be home then more than I ever wanted to be home when they were little and learning to walk. I don't know what that was about for me, but that was my story. And I had always worked administratively, in management, in sales, in marketing. I worked on the Queen Mary for years as an event planner, and brought in multiple $1 million of sales every year, and then realized that if I could do it for them, I could do it for me. So that was definitely something that I had to consider and to think about. I liked, just before this, when Haley said, she's a single tasker, because I have definitely learned that I am very good at doing one thing. I've kind of decided that women have a unique ability to, although we can manage and oversee multiple projects and have multiple things going on, because that is just the role that life has given us, we often can overestimate our ability to quote unquote multitask. And I stand firmly in my idea that multitasking is something that we created to make men feel bad, because they really can't handle as many projects at the same time as we can. If there's any men in the room, I'm sorry. I don't hate men. It's just the truth. We can do things a little bit differently. So I think that is super important. And I'm sorry, my phone is going berserk. I think that we can do a lot of things differently. So when I decided that I wanted to be home more, I started looking at ways to kind of telecommute before telecommuting was a word, before telecommuting was something that we did. That's what I wanted to do. So I knew that that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to make it happen. It just so happened that I needed to have sunscreens put up on my home. I live in Arizona. It's hot. Sunscreens help with that. and I called out 3 contractors, but I want to process, I'm a single mom. Okay. So as a single mom, I didn't have a lot of time, and money was definitely a concern. And so what I did was I had 3 contractors come out to give me 3 estimates, because for some reason 3 was the magic number for me. And I had them give me their estimates. And I specifically told every person, I had them all coming out on the same day, that I wanted to make a decision by the following day at 5 p.m. That's when I was going to make my decision. And I met the last guy that came, I met him, but I really liked him. Like, just, somebody comes into your home to do certain things and you're like, I really like this person. So I liked him. So I was kind of excited to get his quote. I got the other 2 that day or the next morning. And at about 4:30, I hadn't received the 3rd guy's quote. And at about 4:30, I called him and I said, hey, I don't have your quote yet. And he said, oh, I got busy and I'm finishing up a job right now. Let me call you right back. He didn't call me right back. So I made a decision from the other 2 quotes that I had, because I had those quotes. About 3 days later, his quote came in. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And da, da, da. And he called me and he was like giving me his reasons. And he was like, you sound very distant. And I was like, your right back sucks. And he was like, what? I was like, you said you were going to call me right back. Your right back sucks. It's been 3 days. And I was very, vocal. And I was like, that's really, I told you I needed to make a decision. I had to make a decision. He's like, so, he's like, well, you have my quote now. I'm sure it's lower than the other guys you called. So, do you want to go ahead and schedule a job? And I was like, schedule a job? Dude, the job's already done. Like, I said what I was going to do. And he's like, wow. He's like, my voicemail is full. My email's overrun. And needless to say, he was my first client. And he was my first client, and he stayed with me for about 6 years. And I answered all of his phone calls during the day when he was out doing jobs, and I would set up his appointments, and I was really good. I had a map. I knew like the area that we lived in. I could set up his route for the day. I always, worked it in with his schedule. I, communicated with his spouse. Anyway, out of that was born virtual support before virtual support was a term. And now my role is a little different. I don't so much do all of that. I do prefer to work with large philanthropic organizations, nonprofit, that type of thing is what I like to do. But what I recognize is that as business owners, sometimes we have this misguided notion that we can do everything because we own a business. And the truth is, we can't. We cannot do everything. For instance, I need to redo my website. I have the knowledge, the ability, the software, the everything to rebuild my website. I'm probably not going to do it. I'm probably going to pay someone, because I've needed to do it for about 2 years, if that makes any sense. And so when people come to me and they ask why they should hire someone like me for their business, they're making money, but they're just overwhelmed and they're not getting what they want out of their business. What they are missing is that they cannot do it all. So you have to play your role, play your position really well, even as the owner of a business, right? Even as the owner of a business, you have to play your position well. You have to understand that the best use of your time, and most importantly, the most profitable use of your time, might not be doing certain tasks. Building a website is something that I can do, but I guarantee you that when I call Haley or any of the other wonderful people in the Women's Entrepreneur Network that can do that for me, it's probably going to take them about 2 weeks total to get it done. Maybe. And that's not going to take them 2 weeks at 40 hours a week. It's not going to take them 80 hours to get it done. It's going to take them a few hours to get it done. Whereas for me, I will, one, get stuck in a role, in a loop of perfection that I will never achieve, because websites are never actually done. They're just done enough for now. And then you're going to make changes and modify and move forward. And then you want to move to the next step. So you want to make sure that you find people to do the things that you can do. Now, what does that mean? That means that I heard wet cats. That means I take an entrepreneur who's like, I'm doing this business. I'm good at, let's say, we can pick anything. We'll pick an attorney, because I do have an attorney that's a client that I'm really close with. She's a good attorney, great attorney. She sucks at remembering filing dates or calendaring those filing dates. Does that make any sense to people? Like, she literally forgets to do that. So what I do a lot for her is get all the court notices. I am a paralegal. I do get all of her court notices. I make sure they get calendared. I make sure that that it's updated in her tracking system, because those are things that slow her down, right? Oh my God, I have this great legal management, office management software for me to be a lawyer on my own, but I have to load up the client information, and that can take time, and attaching it so that we get the discovery. And there's a lot of little nitpicky things that take me seconds, takes me a few minutes to do. Now, can I write a 30-page appellate brief using legalese while doing the legal research? No, not today. I mean, I could do it eventually, but she can do that. I cannot. And so that's what we do. We play our positions well. I provide her with all of that stuff. I make sure that her clients know that they have to be in court. I do all of those things so that she can lawyer, and so that she can do other things. Melissa is in the comments, and she said, her attention is elsewhere. Here's what I want you to know. All of our attention is elsewhere. She is a mother. She is a wife. She is a sister. She is a daughter. She has 2 other businesses with her husband that they own. Her attention is elsewhere. So don't underestimate the number of hats that you wear in a day, and the role that those play, and why it is more cost effective sometimes to pay someone to provide you support, leadership, direction in areas in which you are not the most successful. I am not an accountant. I pay one. I say that all the time. I tell people it's the best investment you can make early on in your business. Get an accountant, get a CPA, get somebody who knows their numbers, who knows numbers better than you do, if that's not your sweet spot. Regardless, get a CPA. But if that's not your sweet spot, which it is not mine, go do that. I'm really good at closing deals. I'm really good at managing lots of details and keeping them all in order. I'm really good at taking someone's big dream vision and creating manageable hunks and timelines for them to get that project done. I'm good at that. It is second nature to me. It is comfortable to me, but it may not be for someone else. And supporting that has its own benefits. The ability to do that has its own benefits. The ability to have multiple clients and switch hats because I'm comfortable with that. That is its own skill. And if you are a fitness coach, the most profitable place for you in your business is probably working with your clients one-on-one, doing your group coaching. It is probably not building your website. It is probably not making sure that all of your automations are working. It is probably not in making sure that the accounting is done correctly. It is there are so many places that is not your most profitable area. So I want to make sure that women in business women especially, and I'm going to say that because of where we are, women in business especially, I want to understand that we need to work closer to the dollar because our roles are significantly varied. And throughout the day, we are at any given point, all of those things, right? I am somebody's mother. I am somebody's daughter. I am somebody's sister. I am all of those things all at once. But I have to make sure that I put my attention, my energy, my focus on the things that matter. And I will even go so far as to say things that are profitable. And you would say, well, how are your kids profitable? No, they don't give me money. I mean, they could. I wouldn't say no. But it's not about their profitability, what they give me, how they quote unquote pay me, what makes that profitable, the time I spend with them, is the joy that they bring to me. That has value. And I'm very aware of those things because money does not motivate me. I know, crazy entrepreneur, you're not motivated by money. I'm not motivated by money. I am motivated by the things that money can do, but I'm not motivated by money. So telling me I'm going to make a whole lot of money doesn't necessarily get me going. Telling me that I'm going to do this great project and I'm going to get to help a lot of people and da 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 da, and then I'll make some money, that will get me there. And so understanding that other people have different motivations and things that will motivate them and get them going is super important. It's super important to know that. So I work a lot with delegation. I teach a lot on teaching people how to delegate, the things that they should delegate, how to get them closer to working in their zone of genius and making enough money and being profitable enough to understand that this is not my zone of genius and I need to take that somewhere else and give someone else the ability to manage that part of the process for me, because that is a more profitable use of my time. It is not, I'm not making money when I'm toiling over WordPress for 6 hours. That's not bringing anything in. So I want to encourage everyone to focus on learning how to delegate those tasks, finding the resources, the people, the humans, the ideas that will help you open up and do things differently, and learning how to herd your own wet cats. And that's a little bit about me. So I hope that y'all got something out of that.
I actually got a lot out of that. And I appreciate you sharing that. And I have a dry cat. That is not a wet cat.
Not wet.
That is a hungry cat.
Yes.
Behind me. And I actually love that you're sharing that, because that's going to lead me into my talk this afternoon, because we're going to be talking about that use of time. And yeah, it's funny how a lot of times I see that with entrepreneurs. We are so invested in putting time into things and assuming that all people are motivated exactly the same way. And we will try to recreate the wheel 14 times over when we heard it was a good idea, or we thought it was maybe a good idea, or we think that we have the ultimate whatever. And instead we're wasting a lot of time. It's a monumental waste of time at times.
Yes, it is. I mean, we've all done things in our business early on that we wish we hadn't done.
We've all done it in our lives, right?
Exactly.
So, I have several friends who have gotten into couponing over time.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably know where I'm going with this. They're a huge fanatic of saving, $20 a week on groceries, or $30 a week on groceries. And let me just say that they spent an extra 10 or 15 hours a week shopping to save that $20. Plus, that didn't count all the wear and tear on the car, driving to all the different grocery stores. Mm-hmm. And then all of the, gas and everything else that went into it, and all the opportunity costs that you just lost because you were spending all this time trying to save $20 on your groceries.
To save $20. I won't take a whole lot of time. I do want to tell people we want to start thinking of it in terms of our capacity. What do we have the capacity for? Mm-hmm. Haley, I know you went to Duke. We know about capacity. Like, we can only hold this, right? We can only hold this many tasks, this many clients, this many whatever. And we have to get clear on what that capacity is, so that and delegate. And if we need to add people, we got to figure out how to make that happen, because it's just not getting done, or it's not getting done well.
Or we have to decide to let things go.
Or
is the other thing. Because there's always going to be more to do in your business and in life than you have time to do. Like, my house will never be perfectly clean. My user ID on all my platforms is Dartha Stewart. Okay. And I am forbidden from using the laundry machine, the washer, because I screwed up the laundry 30 years ago, almost 31 now. It's coming up on that 31st anniversary of being forbidden from doing any laundry in my house.
There are worse things to be forbidden from than doing laundry. I
I
have to
think,
say, like
right? Your heart breaks for me, I'm sure.
it does. It does. I don't pump
It's,
gas. Does that count? I don't pump
yeah,
gas.
yeah, it
I
does.
don't.
But there's always more to do than we have time to do it in. And there's
Yes.
always, that prioritization of, is it good enough? Is it done
Mhm.
enough? Is it all those things?
Mhm. Mhm.
And learning to
Okay.
leverage what we got, learning to leverage the resources in front of us.
Yes.
And Dionne, you're an awesome resource. Y'all reach out to Dionne. She can help you
Mhm.
get some of this stuff straight.
Some of it straight. Let's get it organized. Let's get it done, and let's get you moving forward.
Yeah.
So,
Wet cats.
wet
Mine are
cats.
all dry.
That good today.
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 Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
You guys
Thank
have a
you.
great
Take
day.
care. Have a good afternoon.